There we go. Hello, everyone. This is Crystal Lynn Astrology, coming to you from Southern California. And I'm super excited about tonight because the energy is so dynamic tonight. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of things we can talk about. So I hope you guys are joining me. Right now, we have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Um, all on the go that we'll be able to discuss different things. So we'll be doing some question and answers tonight. If you guys have specific questions, especially about relationships, that we can talk about it. You know, astrology gives us the ability to look at life through very ancient eyes. I am not somebody that's, perfected relationships, perfected life. But we've been given this gift from the universe through astrology to be able to understand energy and aspects and seasons and time and this need for us to be connected. And so those of us who study and those of us who look through these eyes in our lives, we can, you can really begin to see how the world operates. And so by having that, insight, it allows us to step back and look at life through more objective eyes, and to be able to look at ourselves. And again, I keep talking about that because the hardest thing to do is look at yourself or to laugh at yourself or to say, you know what, I have to take responsibility for that, or I should have done this. I can't change it, but I could see where I might have been able to influence that situation different. And often we don't know what that might be till after we make a mistake or have a situation that really cuts to the heart, right? So we're going to be talking about all of that tonight. Um, so Ethan, I wanted to remind you that you need to send a link to my mom. She wanted me to remind you. So um, that's just a little sidebar. So, how are you guys doing? Hello, everybody. Hi, is it Rory? Rori? I always want to try to pronounce that your names right. So, hi, Josh. We've got a rockin' show tonight. Hi, you guys. Hey, Lucky. Thanks for joining our show tonight. Hi, Jesse. Yeah, tonight we're just going to be talking about all kinds of things. We've been doing some Instagram discussions on my Instagram at Crystal Lynn Astrology on Instagram, talking about the signs, really taking a moment again, refreshing ourselves and saying, what does each sign really represent? And, how can we get the best from each other, encourage the best in each other? By understanding how we each operate, although each person's unique, then we can begin to really speak each other's languages. Sometimes it's a foreign language to you when you're in a relationship with someone else, but if you understand their language, you can make that interpretation and you can have a fascinating connection, friendship, work relationship, family, with other people. It's not so threatening and it's not so, where we're feeling criticized or, we're feeling like we're put down so somebody else can be okay. We've experienced a lot of these, quote unquote toxic relationships that we're all talking about. These are the relationships of the past now. We are moving into a whole new era. And when we have these shifts, major life shifts, world events shifting, um, it's helping us come to a new place in our life where we can see relationships differently. But if you're holding on to the past so tightly, then you'll never be able to, move forward into these new principles, into these new ideas that will help our relationships really grow into the future as it is happening before us. So I know that all sounds kind of complicated. Maybe we'll try to bring all that down to earth. So come on in, you guys. Hello, everyone. Hello, Alam. Hello, Joe. Again, come on in. So I wanted to talk tonight. I wanted to do the introduction tonight about what's going on up in the sky. Okay, so let's start there. Right now, as we speak, and I'll say over the last week, okay, today's is the 8th. So on the 3rd, 4th, we had the new moon in Taurus, okay? A new moon is when the sun and the moon are in the same sign. So if you look up into the sky when we have a new moon, you often can't see the moon. You can't see the moon because it's the sun and the moon are crossing each other, okay? When we have a full moon, you see the full moon on one side and the sun on another. Okay, so when we watch the different degrees and changes of the moon, there's different things that are happening in our life. The moon goes around the sun. It takes 28 days. So we're always having these new 28-day cycles, okay? Now, we have a very specific thing happening that has not happened since the 1930s, specifically 1935. May of 1935, Uranus, the planet Uranus, was in Taurus. Now, Uranus, bear with me because this is a little astrology lessons. We got to learn, we got to understand how the universe works. It's like a clock, you know. The more we all understand it, the more fascinating it is. But Uranus takes 84 years to get around the sun. So most people, unless you live into your 80s, will never experience their first Uranus return, okay? Now, when we get to the midway mark, all right, when Uranus, the one that we were born under, opposes Uranus in the transit right now, and it's opposing, that's at about 40, say 37 to 42. Now, Uranus is like wildfire. It is these sudden changes. It's where we get lightning from. It's where we get thunder and lightning and storms and earthquakes. It's very high vibrational energy. It also rules the internet, the trends. It has a real connection from the ancient times until now. In fact, those of you who are Aquarius, your ruling planet is Uranus. And that's why with Aquarius, we often see that they love, old stuff. They love to go to thrift stores. They love to have antiques around them because they identify with stories in the past. They have this strong connection to that. And, Uranus takes 7 years to change a sign. So if you look at all of our lives, can't you all identify that we all go through 7-year cycles? When you look at your life, you can say, oh, yeah, even in relationships, for people who are married, they say, oh, you made it through the 7-year itch, the first 7 years of a marriage, because every 7 years we do go through radical changes. Now, in 1935, Uranus was in Taurus. And now in 2019, as of March, April, I believe, of 2019, Uranus moved into Taurus. So we want to look back in time and say, what was happening in 1935? Because when a planet makes it all the way around the sun, the influence it had in 1935 is now going to come up again. But 84 years later, now we're going to have solutions potentially for the problems that we had in 1935. Okay, so I hope this isn't all too deep for you guys, but if you want to learn astrology, these are the basics that you need to know. Now, we had a new moon. So we had the sun, the moon, and Uranus all lined up in Taurus. Okay, this again is this rare conjunction. Now, a new moon is all about new beginnings. It's kind of like you plant the seed, the initial idea comes into your head. Things that, have never happened before in your life now can happen. So, the story that I want to talk about very briefly is on this rare configuration, May 3rd, May 4th, we had the Kentucky Derby. If any of you guys out there watch the Kentucky Derby that are like horse racing, I need to see. Is there anybody out there? Hi, Gypsy. Anybody out there? Do I have any Kentucky Derby watchers or followers to understand the beautiful, historic moment when we had this Kentucky Derby last week? Anybody? I'm not getting anybody, but you guys will come through. I know you will. So let me tell this story. Even if you're not interested in horse racing, it's very interesting and it's very telling of what is happening as we speak. So the Kentucky Derby is a very special race. It's the best of the best, okay? And in this race, we had the number one favorite was Maximum Security. Now, in horse racings, I always think names are very significant as well. So interestingly enough, Maximum Security. Now, looking at this new moon and conjunction in Taurus, Taurus is all about maximum security, isn't it? Taurus represents this need to really have stability, to plant the seeds in your life, have stability that you know are going to grow into the future. Okay, so here we have maximum security, the all-time favorite, and they're off. Okay, here he goes. He carries that race all the way around, all the way around. And as he's coming around, and there's 19 horses in this race, that's a lot of numbers. Normally there's only like 7 or 8. So 19 horses, the best of the best, going around like wildfire on this new moon, on this conjunction. So here he is. He's like a whole horse stride ahead of everyone coming around the corner. I mean, he's going to make it to the finish line. And as they're coming around the corner, because he's kind of a young horse, and there's a lot of reasons why, but he drifted out of his lane a little bit. And the trainer said he spooked a little bit. He got a little scared and he came off his lane. But when he came off his lane, which is against the rules, he also got in front of another horse that was headed into the front and knocked him off, blocked him, where he had to step back, and he potentially lost that opportunity. But they all kept going, so here he goes, and he makes it first place, Maximum Security. Second place is Country Horse, okay? And then the others fell behind. Now, imagine that all of the people who bet on this horse, how much money was invested in this horse. And when he came across the line, he was the winner. So everybody's got their tickets. Everybody's elated. Everybody is beyond ecstatic who is betting on this horse, okay? This has been a long time, investment, all right? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just like a lightning bolt, they get a notification for everybody to stop what they're doing, and that the officials are now looking at the race. There's a question to whether he won legally or not. Okay, so everybody's heart's pounding, everybody's shocked because they're all spending their money already, right? They're all dreaming into the vision. They won, right? And now all of a sudden, all of your dreams are just literally being dashed before you. Like, gone. Everything you've ever believed is gone. So for 20 minutes, tick tock, right? 20 minutes, everybody was in suspension. All of a sudden, they come back with the announcement that they have disqualified Maximum Security. So now, not only is he been bumped back, he's not even in the race. So everyone who just prior to that thought their whole world, all their dreams were coming true, now are standing there with a ticket that has literally no value whatsoever in an instant. Okay? And then, of course, second place will now become the first place winner, which was Country what does it see? Is it Country? Oh, Country House. Okay. Now, let's just have some fun wordplay on these words here a minute, because Taurus really represents these two things. Maximum security, wanting maximum security at all cost, or opening up your life like a gypsy and going out into the backlands and having that little country house and having your security, in a totally natural and different way. Okay, because Taurus also represents, the garden, and so this ability to have, a sanctuary, okay, in a quiet place out in the land. It's real estate. So now country house is winner. So everybody's furious now. And yet here we have the second place winner who now is suddenly first place. All of them are ecstatic because even though they didn't even think that they were going to have that moment, everything gets turned around, sudden shock, right? Just like Uranus up in the sky, sudden shock. Taurus representing money and legacy. Now, money and legacy are reversed in a minute. All right. And now the second place winner, they're ecstatic, but when you interview them, they talk about how, how this is really bittersweet because they didn't win by being the first place. They won by default. But if you really listen and you really look at the second place winner, country house, imagine your little country house, okay? He trained for that moment. He prepared for that moment. He was available for that moment. All of the people behind him invested in him and rooted him on in that moment. So although somebody else got disqualified, country house should be absolutely proud of themselves that they were at the right place at the right time. And they trained for it and prepared for it. Okay? And so in that process, the whole world changed for them. And that's what we're dealing with right now in our lives. I know it's a long story to get around to where we are right now in our lives, but so many of us are in this turmoil of we've always had this security, this maximum security that, we never take chances. We bet on this one thing at all costs. And we don't think that anything's going to change. We don't think anything will influence it. We don't think we could do anything wrong. And neither did maximum security, but he ran out of his lane and he blocked people behind him. And so right now, anybody out here that thinks that they can get out of their lane and try to knock people off, try to block people off, try to hurt people, it's not going to go well because the energy right now is all about creating in all of us a whole new value system. Uranus and Taurus is about value. It's about knowing who you are. It's about, we say, oh, love yourself, be kind to yourself. Well, we have to say those things because in our day and age, we've all been raised or we've all been a culture that's super critical and super competitive and, at all costs, that maximum security, and, it's not even that, maximum security wasn't a great horse or he didn't have everything to offer. In fact, I'm really bummed that happened to him. But to talk about where we all are right now, are you going to be at the right place at the right time? This is a time you don't have to fight for it anymore. This is a time you don't need to knock anybody out of the way. Uranus and Taurus is about your value system. It's about knowing who you are. It's about not having to fight, but by knowing who you are, knowing you'll draw the right things to you. It's not about having to hurt anybody else. It's about working hard. And with Uranus, your life can change in a minute. Okay, this isn't just the story of the horse. How many of you out there right now have radical sudden changes? And it might even be you've had a sudden breakup or you've lost a job or your whole life shifted and changed. You moved and you're starting over, but that's right where you should be because the universe is changing and shifting and correcting all of our paths. And if we're finding value in anything else but who we are and who we're created to be, and, what we are and what we believe in. When we go from that place, trust me, the doors are going to open wide open. You could win the Kentucky Derby. Okay? So let's see where you guys are at. I know I'm talking away. I want to see, does this relate to any of you guys? Jess, you love the Kentucky Derby. Good girl. All right, tell me, does this relate? Okay. So think about that for a little bit. That's a little bit of the story. Think about that, how it might apply to your life. But be ready as we speak, because we are going to be having radical shifts. The new moon, although it was a few days ago, for the next 10 days, we're going to be seeing this influence. So don't sit still. Don't think you got it all. Don't try to knock anybody off. You want to get in the right place at the right time and let it happen. Just be there. Okay? So that's my astrological advice. Hey, Chris. Thanks for coming. All right. So anyway, all right. Well, let's do some astrology question and answers. Last week we were discussing about the different signs, doing a little psychoanalysis on the astrological signs, which I think is fun. I don't think a lot of people, especially people just getting into astrology or who know their sun sign, realize how much psychology and how many themes that play out in the different signs' lives that we can actually go much deeper. So, last week I was talking to the different signs about how they felt about relationships or what their greatest fears were. So, tonight I'm going to start with our Sagittarius. So, all of you Sagittarius out there, or if you have a rising in Sag or moon in Sag, Mars in Sag, what is your greatest fear when it comes to relationships? And I want this to be your personal, we can go to textbook, but I want to hear from you guys personally. And if you aren't a Sagittarius, but you know a Sag or you have understanding, we want to hear from you too. This isn't a time though that we're going to get on like a big bashing thing of the signs. Let's look at all of us. Let's put us all on the same playing field right now. Let's look at us all as humans that are interacting with each other. And we can look at our weaknesses. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. But let's just make this a really, mature astrological conversation, okay? So any Sag out there? Where's my Sag? Let's see. What's one of your greatest fears? One of the things that I was learning tonight and talking to, I met a Sagittarius tonight. And we were talking about one of the themes, and it was new to her, but one of the themes that plays out for Sagittarius is father issues, okay? Because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And if you look at mythology and you look back the storylines of Jupiter, there was a strain on the father relationship, sometimes an absent father or a distant father. But there's also a time that relationship can be reunited and stronger than ever. So with Jupiter in Sagittarius this last year, a lot of people have been really exploring their relationships with their fathers, especially Sagittarius. So how about you guys out there? Anybody else out there that can relate to what I'm talking about? So Sagittarius right now with Jupiter in Sag going retrograde, this is a time to really heal and connect to that father relationship. All right, son, father, daughter, father. This is a time to really reconnect with how important that relationship is. If you've never met your father, or you're looking, or you've been estranged, the next 6 months retrograde in Sagittarius is about really maybe going deep and looking. We hold on to so many things that make us angry or fearful or all of those things. But at the end of the day, what matters the most is that beautiful connection, as seeing each other as two human beings. Maybe two human beings that had different paths and you're coming back together. I think it's time that we take such the emotional turmoil that we all like to live in and really lighten up and really work with each other on a humanitarian level. All right. This also lends to the fact as we move into the new age of Aquarius. Aquarius is really all about seeing each other, equally and respecting each other's identities and learning from each other and not, blaming each other and draining each other and, all of those things. So we're moving out of that time into this new energy. These are what our relationships are moving into. So anyway, I'm going to take some questions here. Think about that, Sagittarius. Now, I am looking. I've got Facebook here. Let's see. I'm not getting many questions from you guys. So if you see me looking and then I'm not answering, it's because you aren't answering me any questions. So, are you a singer? No, I'm not. That's from Christine. Thank you for asking, because I always wish I could be a singer. I have Mercury and Venus and Libra, so I should have been a singer. I love music, but I just always had this little gravel Gertie voice. My mom used to tell me when I was a kid. So that's not my greatest suit. So, all right. Thanks for asking that, though. I always wanted to be a singer. Okay, another comment from Kirsten. I found out my dad was not my dad last year, a week before I got married. Haven't spoke to him since. Are you Sagittarius, Kirsten? And what year are you born? How old are you? Because this is a common theme that's been happening for so many people. Having these things come up and finding out for the first time. You are not the only one. This is a very Sagittarius theme, because the last 3 years Saturn was in Sagittarius and now Jupiter's there. So many people are finding out that they have connections with other family members that they never knew about. So I definitely want to hear more about that. Okay, you're a Leo. All right. Any Sagittarius in your chart? Moon, rising, Mars? What house do you have Sagittarius in? Again, all of these things in astrology we can look at. But, be open. Be open to making those connections. You don't have to put in relationships. We don't need to put so much intensity on something. Maybe, again, you're meeting somebody for the first time. Maybe you can just meet them as a person, or you're reigniting a relationship that you haven't been in with for a long time. Maybe you missed long periods of each other's lives. Come to the table who you are today. Love them for who they are today. Learn from each other what you went through. We can't go back and fix time. The only thing we can have, though, is two people willing to come to the table together, willing to want that relationship, not willing to let another day go by. Anger and all of those things hold us back, but everybody loses, in that relationship. Now, some relationships have had their time and they go different ways, and that's a different thing. But I'm talking about these strong family ties or relational ties that come back into your life. Okay, so there you go on that. Hi, Hannah. That's my daughter. All right. Well, Joseph, I hope that was good. You said you loved that. So at least I know that you guys are, connecting with what I'm trying to talk about. All right. Let's talk about another sign. Let's talk about our Leo. I've got a few Leos here tonight. Our Leo. What is the Leo's greatest fear in relationships? What would you guys say, or in your experience? We're looking at what fears we have so that we can all be human, to be able to say, yeah, we all have fears. If we're going to talk about relationships, and in astrology, if I do readings and I get into relationships, astrology allows us to really dive deep and to look at who we are on a psychological level. You know, you go to a counselor or a psychologist, or you study psychology, years and years and years of trying to dissect these things. If you understand the chart, you have an instant mapping of your soul and who you are. And, you know, it does take years to learn to interpret it, but it's so amazing that you can finally understand who you are. So that's why I teach it, and that's why I help others find that. So there you go. All right, you guys. So everybody's coming in. Don't forget, if you guys remember, to please like the video, to share the video, and to comment. I know you guys are commenting on the chat, but if you don't mind after or during, to comment below. That's how social media works today. If there's not energy going around a channel or a show, they just don't give it any much energy. Energy is all about, like, I'm giving something tonight. You guys are giving something back as we're having this discussion. But to make, to help these opportunities keep coming, like and share, tell a friend that might be interested, that we're just having a good time talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. All right. So, but please do. I do appreciate that. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that those of you who emailed me last week and those of you who are going to email me tonight, to continue to be in our contest for the winner, I'm doing 15-minute audio readings. I have selected several. This week, I'm going to be selecting 3 more. And if you have put your name in and you haven't heard from me yet, you will continue to be in the contest, okay? So hang tight. You still could hear from us. But the link's below. Go to my email, give me your date of birth, and we're going to put you in for a free reading, okay? So, and they're super fun, so I'm having a good time with that. All right, you guys. I have Venus in Leo, and I'd have to say, in my opinion, the Leo's greatest fear is getting his or her, hold on, see more, heart broken. Well, that's pretty true. And I think if you look at the fact that Leo is ruled by the heart, okay, Leo's ruled by the heart, emotionally the heart's affected. Physically, the heart can be affected for Leos. The heart is very sensitive. They only do things they love, that they have passion for. Their work comes from the heart. So it's easy to look at the fact that getting your heart broken, like, that's pretty traumatic for a Leo, right? Or breaking somebody else's heart, that's very, very difficult situation. So thanks for sharing that. I think that was Joseph. Let's see. Let me see here. Anybody else? I apologize. It takes me a minute with all these coming through. Venus in the 7th house. Chris, tell me more about that. Okay, so you're talking about, I stay away from relationships, 8th house sun, Scorpio moon, and Venus in Cancer. Makes me feel like I let the other person take over me. So having Venus, which is you having Cancer in your 7th house, that's a really good insight. Now, for those of you who are still learning astrology, many of you out there know what we're talking about when we get to the houses. The 7th house in your chart, everybody has a 7th house, talks about your relationships. And when you have Venus in your 7th house, I actually have that as well, your relationships are very intense because you're either giving all or they're giving all to you. They're very, very connected. There's a give and take, but there can be times that, this gets off balance. It's a constant balancing act. Okay, so that would be very true. How do you guys feel that way? Do you feel that you are more the giver in a relationship, or that you really need somebody to give to you, that you really look for them to meet your standards? I'd like to hear what you think about that. Okay, so you might want to comment on that too. Venus in the 12th house, can you possibly explain? And that is Alaski. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yes, Venus in the 12th house. So 12th house really represents the area in our life. It's like our soul. It's the hidden area of our life. Actually, the 12th house is ruled by the feet, your actual feet. So what do we do with our feet? We put socks on our feet. We put shoes on our feet. We don't usually show our feet too much, do we? We hide our feet. 12th house also represents, it can represent mental hospitals. It can represent, jail. It can represent being in taking care of somebody in a nursing home. These institutions that are really, very, very strict, that take care of us when we can't take care of ourselves anymore. So when you have Venus, which is the planet we look for love, what we love. Our sun sign is our destination, but Venus is what we love, the type of person we love, what we're looking for in a relationship. So when you have Venus in your 12th house, you're really looking for potentially more of a private relationship, more of a hidden relationship, maybe somebody you don't want everybody to know about. Maybe somebody that, like I said, it's just you two. It's not very public. This might be somebody you meet while you're in a rehabilitation or while you're in jail or while you're, in any type of, institutional situation. You can meet a 12th house relationship. Okay. So that's just a few ways to look at that. So 12th house is, it's a very, very, a very private relationship. You protect each other very much. You don't need to go tell everybody about it. And not everybody gets to see everything about your relationship, but you guys both hold it very close and very dear. So that would be a 12th house relationship. Okay, Amy. Let's see. I dated a Leo as an Aries, and they seemed afraid of commitment. Also read that Leos and Aries aren't good for each other, but attract. That's actually so true, Amy, because both of those signs are fire signs. So your fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So fire attracts fire. I mean, when when you're a fiery person, you want to have fun and you want to do different things, and you meet another sign that's fiery, like a Leo, that's somebody that definitely wants to go out and do special stuff, dress up, deck out, you know what I mean? Go to restaurants. So it's initially very exciting. But the other part of the fire signs is fire can be all consuming, right? And so most fire signs have a very strong confidence about themselves and really fight for themselves. Like they're not going to let anybody else, mow them over. And so that's where you start to kind of get this tension. And afraid of commitment, I think, again, fire sign can go a lot of different ways because the fire wants to keep all of the excitement. So it depends on how a person looks at commitment. Some people look at commitment as like, wow, now I can take everything I have and everything I love and invest it in this one person, and we can share this life. They're going to invest it all here. And when two people do that, that's an incredible connection. But again, the fire signs tend to be a little more self-absorbed. And again, not trying to say anything bad, just talking about in nature, okay, because fire is self-consuming. And so they care about themselves each individually, and may have a hard time sharing, and may have a hard time, if there's not competition or wanting commitment. There's this little bit of a power trip potentially that can happen. So that's just some things to think about. Again, these are all scenarios, and each scenario is different, but these are overall general scenarios. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got going on in here. Anybody else? Let's see. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Any questions? Ethan is coming to join us. Let's see. Your birthday for a channel with the free. Okay. Put their birthday below. Okay. We are going to ask you guys for a chance to win a free reading. These are my 15-minute audio readings where I read your chart based on your questions, and I give you a whole analysis, an intuitive analysis based on the chart. And you're able to watch this and listen to this over and over again. Comment your birthday. So put your birthday down. If you guys want to put your birthday down, that would be super cool, because then we can talk to you guys a little bit better and understanding your charts and what signs we have out there. Okay, so put your birthday down, and we'll be choosing tonight. This gives us a chance, like I said, to get to know you guys a little bit more. It helps me too, so that's a great idea. Any other questions that you have, Ethan? Ethan is my son. Come over here. Come over here. He is my foundation, my backdrop. That doesn't sound like a very my backdrop.
I'm in the background.
He's in the background, but you know he's an Aries, so you know he's got it all going on. So, oh here, wait, let's put this up here a minute. Yes. So Ethan's an Aries, and yeah, what do you think? Do you like to have a lot of fun in your relationships and go do things?
I do. Astrology is kind of a trip for me. You know, I had initially had a hard time because I'm like, there's no way that the stars are going to tell you all this. And the turning point, just kind of a funny story for me, was I told her all the birthdays of my friends I grew up with, and she got all their personalities spot on. And I said, well, maybe she remembered them from, you know, being younger. So I was running a moving business at the time, and I told her each and every one of the guys that worked for me at the time, their birthdays, and she told me exactly how we got along. She said, this person will kind of stay out of the way and be more, you know, passive-aggressive. You know, this person you're going to butt heads with. And just, it's really amazing, interesting. You know, I'm in the background, but I'm very interested with everything, how accurate so much of it is when you were born.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I see it. I mean, I got 3 Aries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Triple Aries in my five stack, I call it.
Yes. It's almost a full house. Yeah, your sun, Mercury, and Venus in Aries. So that is a lot of Aries energy. Anybody else out there? Who else is our Aries out there? Who else is our Aries?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
What's the most interesting sign? Out of all 12, if you were to say it was the most interesting sign to you, what would it be?
That's a good question. Most interesting sign. You know, I mean, I think interesting, and I tend to be drawn to Pisces and Scorpios. So the water signs, I find them very interesting because I'm so interested in what they pick up on and the deeper side of life. Like, they have deeper conversations. They can talk about things that most people can't talk about. I like to have those relationships where we're talking, we can go right to the point of deep, you know, I'm a deeper person.
I think of the Pisces that I know and Sagittarius that are just, they're definitely, you have that deeper, you know, just,
like philosophy and how to study the world and all of those things. So for me, I'm always fascinated because it's like the water. There's never 2 moments exactly the same if you're watching the waves. Like, you could never duplicate. And I think when you're, you know, in conversations with people that go on that deeper level, you know, there's just no deeper you can go.
Right.
You know, and it's like, whoa, how deep can we go?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, good. All right, you guys. Let's see. What other questions do we have?
Do we have any birthdays? Oh, we have some birthdays.
We have some birthdays. Okay.
12th house Scorpio with Neptune and part of Fortune.
Part of Fortune. That's an asteroid. Yeah, people just giving me.
You have an asteroid in your sign?
Oh, there's asteroids too. That's a whole nother. Oh, let's see. Go Aries. There's Amy. We have August 12th, 1985, Diamond. Very cool.
Let's pick one. What do you think? August 12th?
Yeah, let's pick August 12th, 1985.
Diamond Cindy, August 12th. The link is above, and you can go in there, enter your information, and we will write it down.
Are we looking up the chart right now? Do we want to do that, or are you going to send it to?
I'll write
you're
it
just
down.
picking.
Yeah, I'll write it down so we don't miss.
Okay.
Diamond Cindy.
So she is going to get our free reading, Diamond. Yes, you are. So congratulations.
Yeah, go in the link and just put your information in. I put I put Diamond Cindy down. So make sure if that information is in there.
Okay, very good. Chris Strickland, go buy Crystal and Ethan's astrology clothes and items. They're awesome. Yes, if you guys want to go check out our t-shirts, all different designs, has the different signs, great conversational pieces, and it would help support the channel, and it would be something that you guys would really enjoy. So go check them out at crystallynastrology.com. All right. Okay, so I'm going to answer a few more questions here. Let's see what else is going on out there.
I'm going to go back, but don't forget commenting, and I'm the guy that likes to pick the winners a lot. So comment, and I am back there when she's in here talking and she's getting really in depth. I'm sitting there and picking winners, and
so put lots of explanation points after your name and
exactly.
get his attention. Like,
share it on
me.
your page. It's all being watched, so that when we see shared to the page and we see somebody interacting a lot, we love to give love back. Our goal is to build this, and yeah. So that's all I got. Like, comment, share.
Very good. Very good. Okay, you guys, let's see what else we got going on. Thank you for sharing your birthdays. We've got Aries, we've got Capricorns. Hey, Capricorns, we need to talk. Reminding me. How are you guys doing out there, my Capricorns? Okay, another huge, significant thing happening up in the sky right now. Planet Saturn and Pluto. Now, again, we're looking at totally radically different time frames. Again, learning astrology. Saturn takes 29 and a half years to get around the sun. Pluto takes, oh my gosh, I think it's like 288 years. Is that correct? Can somebody give me a clarification on Pluto? It's like 288 years to get around the sun. I need an answer on that from my astrology friends out there. So meanwhile, we've got Saturn doing this, we've got Pluto doing this, and right now as we speak, again, they are in a conjunction. And I think this is again, something that hasn't happened in, several hundred years. I'll get a clarification on that. But Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn, Pluto blows things up. Pluto wants to, like a volcano in our lives, just explode those things that we've been chained to, that thinking we've been chained to. Capricorn is really all about this structured mindset, this exact way you have to do something. It's the laws, it's the rules. Often the laws and the rules we were raised with, people who are maybe very, raised very strict religiously, they're in their religion, okay? That could be a Saturn in Capricorn transit. If you were born with Saturn in Capricorn, okay, you are going to have been raised, either with, hardworking parents, and this could be for you Capricorns as well. It's kind of an overall theme. It could be that you worked very young. It could be that you were raised very strict, that, was very strict environment. So we've got Saturn who's very strict, and we've got Pluto here wanting to blow up everything that's strict. Okay, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of scary. So we've got these issues that the government has established, okay? A perfect example right now would be, and we're going to talk towards elementary schools or the schools. We have the old thinking of the old paradigm of our school system, right? Going to school from 9 to 5 or 9 to 3, sitting with a group of people, having these tests, this environment, this type of work we have to learn. This is how you have to learn it, and this is how we've done it. And if you don't do it this way, you will not be successful in the future. That is a very strict Saturnian way of thinking, okay? Now we have Pluto here, and I think we did get 248 years. Thank you, who added that. 248 years takes for Pluto. So it's in Capricorn. So Saturn's trying to hang on to the old laws, and Pluto's trying to blow them up. blow them up. So here, Saturn would be, this is the way you have to do things, and if you don't, you will not be successful. And Pluto over here in Capricorn is saying, hey, you know what I mean? It's all about homeschooling, or it's all about unschooling. You know, in our day and age, our children are going to have to learn to be on the computer. They will be able to look up how to spell anything, how to do a math problem. You know, they'll have at their fingertips. It used to be we'd have to have a calculator and we could barely even get to use it. Right nowadays, the things that we needed to learn are totally different than the things the kids need to learn today. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't still have, you know, that old school way of learning and those basic things, but we as parents have to realize our kids are a totally different way of thinking and learning. So Pluto and Saturn are together right now in this huge connection. What areas of your personal life are in that battle? The old way of thinking with this whole new idea. What way is that happening? And so for many of us, though, when you look at the collective, when you look at what we're all dealing with Saturn and Pluto here in Capricorn, there's some heavy, intense stuff. I mean, this government could be police department, could be, you know, legal issues, could be all kinds of things like coming out, but then this other way of coming and reversing it, or teaching us a lesson, but we get free. You know, that you're going to go down, but now there's this new way that's going to open the door and let you free. But you can't forget that lesson. You can't not learn it. All right, so it's like it's two, they're in the same signs, they're not opposing, but Saturn and Pluto are having a totally different conversation. Okay, so I don't know if that's helpful, but many of us are going through radical, radical things. Okay, radical, radical things. I think you would all agree. I talk to so many people, and including my own life, so many changes and so many radical things. Okay, let's see. Anybody else here? Let's look at what questions we have. YouTube. Come on, YouTube. Let's see. Let's see. Trivia. Give me a trivia question, Chris. Trivia. I'm not giving trivia, am I? Give me some trivia, you guys. There's so many trivia questions, so many things. I was kind of going down this path of asking you guys about the different signs. Okay, I'll give you a trivia. Here's one. Might surprise you. What sign, they've done a study on this, what sign is the number one sign in jail, in the prison system? What do you think the number one sign in the prison system is? Okay, that is our trivia. And this trivia question right here will be for another free reading. Okay, so we've already given one away. We're going to give one at the contest when you guys email me, and then this is our other 15-minute reading. What sign is number one in the prison system? And this may surprise you. This may surprise you. Now, a lot of you guys are saying Pisces, which would make sense because of that 12th house kind of prison thing going on. But this is an actual, we want to think of the person. And I think we have a winner. Mark, you are our winner. The answer is Cancer. Cancer is the number one sign in the prisons. Isn't that interesting? Does that surprise you guys? Does that surprise you? Well, here's the thing. A lot of people, when we think of the Cancer, we think of this person that is so nurturing, so caretaking, so emotional. All those things are true. But the Cancer has the ability to have it's an emotional intelligence. It's like they have a memory of everything that's ever happened to them as if it's happened. So if there's any sign that's going to have post-traumatic, probably also you're going to see the Cancer with that. Okay. And they hold on. They hold on to a lot of anger. And when you piss them off, or when you hurt them, or when they're angry, it can take a long time for them to want to let go. Now, the good thing though is about the Cancer, as much as they can hold on, they are the one sign that if you stop what you're doing and you take the time and you have an honest emotional conversation, they need to see your emotions. If they can see your emotions and you can have an honest conversation, that healing can happen like that. But they need to know that you have emotions towards them. So for many Cancers that have not experienced those type of relationships where they have that safety and emotional safety in the relationships, they can become very angry, very passive aggressive, hold on to a grudge, disappear, and often, think of the crab. I mean, he's got those two pinchers. He can put a lot of damage on somebody. So we do see that Cancer is the number one sign in the prison system. So there you go on that. Let's see. Let me see over here. I'm trying to read your questions, you guys. Bear with me. Okay. As far as looking at two charts, I can do that in a reading. I don't have my charts opening up right now. So just remember, you guys, that yeah, you're getting a lot of information, but if you want to go deeper, that is my goal, is to be able to show you guys how deep we can go in astrology. And I offer these 15-minute readings. I can do compatibility. I can answer specific questions with two charts in front of me. We can do a one-on-one. It's an hour, so I have different options. Okay, and then I also have my natal chart reports, which are about 25 pages about you. You can also get one for somebody you want to know more about. So they're $25. So again, doing a little sales pitch here, only because that's how we keep the channel going, is I gotta work. So put me to work. So, all right, you guys, what else we got going on here? Okay, let's see. What sign, now this will be free for a free natal chart report, okay? What sign would be most considered, and we'll talk about from a male perspective, most considered to be Peter Pan? Peter Pan. What sign is Peter Pan? Let's see if anybody knows. What sign is Peter Pan? Peter Pan. That just came off the top. Do we have anybody with that answer? Let's see. Carrie on YouTube. Let's see if there's anybody else over here on Facebook. I don't see anyone. Carrie, you are getting another chart. You've gotten a couple because you've won. So we'll get you a transit one, or we'll get you something a little different. Carrie is our winner because it's Gemini. Peter Pan is the Gemini. And one thing about Geminis is they do kind of have this little gang. They like to have this little gang. Even women Gemini, they can be like little bullies, and they can have a little gang, or they're kind of like, just kind of tricky and sneaky and get into trouble. Okay, but also can have a good cause. So Peter Pan tried to have a good cause, but he did get caught up in all kinds of trouble, didn't he? So there is another trivia for you. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie says that reminds you that I do also do pet readings, and that is one of my specialties. So if you have a very special dog, cat, horse, an animal that you'd like to know more about, I've been with animal behavior for over 25 years. I can also give you tips in training or animal behavior, ways to look at things, because I have a lot of experience there as well. So people love to know more about their animals, and I can give you some really interesting insights through astrology. So Amy's also had a few of my readings on her ponies. In fact, I'm going to give you a funny little story about my friend Amy, who's coming on, joining us here. She has minis, And I'm trying to think of what his name is, and you're gonna have to remind me. Your little paint with the little blue eye. Which one is he? Anyway, she had this horse, this pony, and when I looked at its chart, there was something really interesting about it. It was born. It was a 2-day period where Venus had retrograded from Venus and Aries, retrograded back into Pisces for 2 days and then went forward again. It was this weird little 2-day thing. And that's when the chaos. And his name is Chaos. Okay, he was born in this rare little configuration of Venus retrograding into Pisces for 2 days. And his name is Chaos, which is, Pisces is so about chaos, a little bit of chaos everywhere. But the weird thing about it was he had this one eye, and it was like one blue eye. It's this really, really, really interesting eye. And Pisces, because it's ruled by Neptune, ruled by the ocean, often will have these strange blue eyes, or one eye, or even like different color eyes. It's very, very strange, intuitive eyes. So a lot of people really wonder if astrology really does have anything to do with what we look like. Do the planets influence that? And I have more proof than ever when I saw this baby, Rapper's Royal Chaos, born in this little weird 2-day configuration in Pisces that got this blue eye. And also she named him Chaos, not even knowing. So see how things work? I don't know. I just find it's so interesting. And I guess as an astrologer, these are all the little things I'm always looking for in studying and analyzing. So there you have it. So, okay. Well, you guys, we are getting almost to our hour here. Is there anybody that has any other final question that you'd like me to take a look at? If you have won something tonight, please go to my email, crystal@crystallynastrology.com. The link should be below. And give me your information. If you want to put it in for future updates and future contests, go over and say hi. And let me know how you guys like the show. Let me know if you're learning anything. Let me know if you have any questions you want me to address in the future, because so many of you guys tell me that you're really having a good time. I'm having a good time. But hearing from you guys and continuing to hear really is very supportive energy to keep all of this going. So come over and say hi to me through the email. All right, you guys. Hi, Heather. Good to see ya. I've seen some familiar names. Any other questions? Let's see. I'm looking at YouTube. I look here a lot, and like I said, sometimes you guys are talking to each other, which I think is really cool. But sometimes you're not asking questions, so I'm not trying not to answer them. I'm just looking. Thanks, Josh. Love the show. It's awesome. I've learned so much. Awesome. Chris has a question. Chris, let's see. I don't know. I got to go up now. Did I miss it? Let me see. Hang tight. I'm not seeing your question. I don't know if I'm missing something here. It's kind of hard to read. But anyway, if you want to try to ask it again. Let's see. Anybody else? You're still waiting for the answer. Diamond. We're gonna give you a free reading. So
Chris said, who is most likely to break up with you first? What sign?
who is most likely to break up with you first? Which sign? That's a good question. Okay, it's kind of doing voice back. Gosh, what do you guys think? I have to think about that. My first initial thought would be Aries, only because they blurt and they do things, they say things and think later. You know what I mean? So they might be someone to blurt. What do you guys think of a sign? Have you been broken up with before? What sign was it that broke up first? Yeah, Aries was the thought too. I'm going to go with Aries. Yep, Joseph said Aries. I think it depends on your sign. It does depend on your sign. And like those of you that are Aries that are like, not, that wouldn't be the case. Just looking at it from a point of view that Aries do speak their mind. And if they don't like something, they're going to let you know. So in terms of that scenario, you might see that. Carrie, I'm an Aries and I do the breaking up. I love it. So yeah, but we love our Aries because they say it like it is, and that's what we need. No pussyfooting around, right? So, all right, you guys. Well, we are gonna call it good. Diamond, I know you said you're still waiting. I'm not looking at both charts. If there was a question I didn't see, additional, because we're gonna give you a free reading. So you're gonna go to my website with your information. I need your time of birth too. And I'll go into depth into your questions. So, all right, you guys. Well, I tried to get to everybody. Sorry if I missed anyone. Don't forget, like, share,
Comment,
subscribe. Oh,
hit
do
the
the
bell.
notification thing.
The bell.
The bell.
And if you like, reviews are awesome too.
Oh, we love reviews.
Facebook
we need
reviews.
reviews. Please
Really?
give reviews.
Yeah.
Please tell me it's okay.
All right. I'm
Okay.
just having you shut up. Or not shut up. Having you close up. Thank
You're
you,
lucky
guys.
that I'm your mother. Say something like that to me. Just kidding. Okay, what are we doing? Oh, we're getting ready to say goodbye. Aries. Okay, you guys, love you. Can't wait to see you next week. And come and visit me through email, and we will talk later. See you soon.